90% of the profits to the hospital come from keeping dying patients in the intensive care unit for the last 10 days. Yamastu harati pranan, Yama only takes life. Vaidhyo pranan dhanani cha, you take life and money both. And today if you go to the hospital, especially if you go to an ICU, which you are invariably put into, by the time you come out of that, if you come alive, which is very rare, 99% of the time you die without even being able to talk to your near and dear ones. And then the near and dear ones are guilty for the rest of their lives. I couldn't tell my husband or my father what he wanted to say. But you are very bad there thinking, oh my God, I didn't talk to my wife when I came here. All this is because the intensive care unit is a compulsion for everybody who goes to the hospital. But they did a survey in America of doctors. 99% of the doctors said, I don't want to die in an intensive care unit with the tube stuck in every orifice the wrong way. Doctors gave in writing what's called living will. Don't take me to the intensive care unit at any cost. But the ordinary poor patient goes to the intensive care unit compulsory. Do you know why? It is the intensive care unit which gives the profit to the hospital. Studies showed in America, 90% of the profits to the hospital come from keeping dying patients in the intensive care unit for the last 10 days. When hospitals first started in the 18th century in England, there was the first country where there was some hospital. Whoever went to the hospital went to heaven. Now in the 21st century, we have come to hospitalism. Whoever goes to the hospital goes to heaven, but through the intensive care unit. That's all the difference. Did you get that now? A recent study showed, which is published in the Lancet last month, that if you screen the population, 95% of people have one disease. And 1 in 20 people have got more than 5 diseases. In America, anybody above the age of 30 takes on an average 2 pills a day. So I jokingly tell people, you can find out the health of a man by seeing 2 things. A, what does he take 2 at a time? Did you get it? What does it take 2 at a time? You see a man climbing stairs. If he takes 2 steps at a time, he's not going to die till 100 years. If you see him taking 2 tablets at a time, he's going to die in the next few days. Did you get that? So you don't have to go to a doctor. You can check it by seeing what does it take 2 at a time. There are people obsessed about it. The wife keeping a box, and then their chit at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and the tablet is taken. And even in the meeting, they sit and the box comes, and they're so obsessed about it. Yesterday, one man was asking me, shall I take this before food, or just before food, or 5 minutes before food, or after 5 minutes, or when do I take? Do I take it with water? Do I put water first and then the pill next, or pill and then the water? We have frightened people so much. Whether you take it with food, without food, with water, without water, and even if you take it at the other end, it does the same job. Probably it does a better job if you put it at the other end. So you don't have this nausea, vomiting, etc., etc. It does a very good job. No, I'm not joking. Seriously telling you, because you get the same thing in suppositories. Instead of taking it by mouth, you can push it in there. After you have finished your toilet business, just push it there. It will get absorbed. This is our state now. Now a study showed, this study showed that a good doctor, who is a good human being, he doesn't have to have degree. You know, in the good old days, quacks were doing so well, much better than us. Even today, quacks do much better because we, doctors, today you must go to a big hospital. Doctor has no time to talk to you. You say chest, before you say pain, angiogram is done. Then after the angiogram done, everybody has a block because even children have block. So the minute the block it, oh, you are sitting on a volcano, you must die anytime. Now, angioplasty, now. Now a study done in America now showed that any tablet you take, any tablet, from aspirin to statin, the minute the tablet goes inside the system, because today you can tag the tablet computer-wise, computer chip called the MIT chip, mitochondrial chip, right up to the cell it can be tagged. The minute it goes to the stomach, the body's intelligence says, hey, I have not seen this before. My father did not have it. My grandfather did not have it. We human beings never had this. This is a chemical molecule. So it must be poison. Throw it into the liver. So the drug goes to the liver. So any drug that you take, your liver gets damaged. Then the liver tries to damage the whole thing. If something remains, it comes out. It's called first pass effect. And that's the one that creates problems for you. So the drug doesn't do anything except that you get the feeling, oh, I have had the drug, so my fever will come down. Fever will come down. Because the mind is pleased, the body is pleased. What is the body? It's mind. You don't have a mind in the head and body down. No, no, no. Your whole body is your mind. And your mind is outside also. It's called the mind. It's not in the brain. So you see, we foolish doctors, for psychological diseases, we give chemical drugs. Do you know? You go to the psychiatry, you will get chemical drugs. The drugs affect the brain, but the mind is not in the brain. Did you understand that? The mind is outside the brain. That's called consciousness. A great neurologist, professor of neurology in the Mayo Clinic, young lady, has written this book for you. Please get this book. It's called The Theory of Reality. Reality is the consciousness. The Theory of Reality. The professor's name is David Wiebers. 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 David is a fascinating neurologist, professor of neurology, neurobiology in Mayo Clinic, a senior American doctor, but a very nice man, down-to-earth man. He loves Ayurveda and he doesn't take modern medicine. He takes only Ayurvedic drugs if he has to. Now I've asked David to come to India and talk to some of our doctors. You know, when I talk, our doctors think, hey, what does this fellow know? He's Indian from a village called Mangalore. What does he know? If I get David Wiebers to Bangalore and then make him talk in Nimhans, then Nimhans doctors will sit there, hey, Wiebers has come from Mayo Clinic. He must be right. Then he will tell the psychiatrist, see, don't unnecessarily give drugs. Because even in America, about 2 weeks ago, I was lecturing at the VCU, University of Virginia, Commonwealth University of Virginia. And I was lecturing to the psychiatry department. And the head of the department of psychiatry is the senior most professor of psychiatry in America. When I was telling them, why are you treating psychiatric patients with drugs? You should only talk to them and give them compassion and love. He was telling me, but why, it helps. I said, it helps because they have faith in you. I said, the mind is not in the brain. Professor of psychiatry in VCU today does not know the mind is not in the brain. Can you believe that? But he was very much impressed. He said, come in the evening, we'll have dinner in my house. We'll discuss. Because he didn't want to discuss that in the department. So I am requesting David to come here and talk to Nimhans people, some asses in Delhi, because Delhi people think they know everything in the world. There is only one sensible man in Delhi, rest of them are all lost their brains. Two sensible men, Karthikeyan and one other person. I won't tell you who he is. So, I have now fixed a lecture for him in Delhi. I am trying to fix a lecture in Bangalore, fixing a lecture in Chennai, and if possible, near Mangalore, there is an educational center where 50,000 students are there. I took Hans-Peter Dürr there and made him talk to the students. I made him talk to the physics professors in the university. They didn't understand what he was talking. But the students understood so much that they were asking questions till 10 in the night. Then I had to pull the man out. I said, hey, come along. Hans, I am sleepy. This fellow was there, 89, and he's talking to the students. He's lost, completely lost. So, we have to educate our people, and to pay them in their own coin, we must get the white-faced asses from there to talk to them. Because colored people, they don't have any respect. Our people don't respect only white hair. In the plane, you must see, in Air India plane, you ask for a Coca-Cola or something or water, they will say, oh, it's not there now, later. If a white man or a white woman asks, they come running. Madam, what do you want? Can I give you Coca-Cola? I'll give you this cola, that cola. And I said, no, only our Murarji cola if you have. This is the kind of people we have. What can we do? Murarji Desai says you take urine which is good for health. We laugh at him. American professors say you can take shit, human excreta, for a serious disease. We say, oh, fecal transplant. He immediately says it's good. So, what I was trying to tell you, my dear sir at the back, is that health is within you. Health is your birthright. And you are healthy unless proved otherwise. So don't go for a checkup if you have two things. A, enthusiasm to work, and enthusiasm to be compassionate. A lot of people think, oh, I have not checked my sugar. I said, I have not checked my sugar for the last about 40 years. I don't know, some accidentally I checked. They say, how do you know you're not diabetic? I said, my body tells me if I'm a diabetic, then I'll go to the doctor. If the body doesn't tell you, why do you go to the doctor? Many times you go to the doctor with fear, your sugar slightly goes up, and you are labeled diabetic. Finished. For the rest of your life, you are a diabetic. And the more drugs you take, the higher the sugar goes. See this problem? So you don't have to worry. If you have any problem, now Ayurveda has the best definition of health. Shushruta has the best definition of health. Samadoshaha, samagnischa, malakriha, samadatuhu, prasannatma indriya manaha swastaithya vidiyate. If you are a man with the love-filled mind, compassion-filled mind, you love everyone in this universe, you hate nobody, and you are not jealous of anybody, you are not proud of yourself, and you have all your works going on very well. You sleep well, you eat well, you shit well, you piss well, and you drink well, and you are able to work, and your mind is devoid of any hatred. You are healthy. There is a nice Irish couplet. I drink when I am thirsty, I eat when I am healthy. If heavens don't fall down, I'll certainly live till I die. That the whole health is in your hands. Your health is in your hands, nobody's hands. And try to be healthy. Very, very simple things. Nitya, hita, mita, ahara, sevi. I have seen people worrying about not eating this, not eating that. No. Eat anything, even poison is all right occasionally, in small dose. Number 2, samikshakari, work very hard. Don't sit quietly in a place. 1 hour you sit, 1 day in your lifespan is gone. That 1 hour you walk, 1 day in your lifespan is increased. A lot of people sit and talk, our Swamijis and all. Sitting and talking, the brain doesn't work because brain doesn't get blood supply. You move around, your heart is pumped, and blood supply comes here, and my brain cells get better blood supply. My brain is happy, I am happy, you are happy. You get the point? So, samikshakari. Then it says, data, be a giver, not a taker. If you give me something, I'll say, why did she give this? They should have given something else. If I am able to give you something, I am so happy I have been able to give you. Data. Then samaha, treat everyone as equal. The peon is as good and as important as your boss. So treat them both as human beings. Both of you are born alike. You are going to die alike. In between, why this problem? Do you understand? Emerson wrote, our ingress into this world was naked and bare. Our egress from this world will be nobody knows where. Our progress in this world is trouble but care. If you do well here, you will do well there. Lot of my patients worry about dying. No, the only fear is death. So I tell them jokingly, just to humor them, die, so what? Everybody has to die. See, the one certain thing is the day you are born, you are in the queue for death. But we Indians are very good in jumping the queue. Sometimes we jump and go early. That's a different thing. But by and large, you are in the queue. Now what happens in the queue? You are in the queue waiting for that death. Now why are you worried about it? Where do you want to go? Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. You want moksha, right? And you are such a good man. If you die, you will certainly go to heaven. God is waiting for you. And you are happy ever after. Jivan mukta. Puna marana illa. But supposing God's bookkeeping is wrong. Some of the banks, sometimes your account is credited to someone else's account. So somebody else got your credit. And you go to hell. So what? So many of your friends are there. You'll be so happy there. So either case you are happy. So don't have to worry. So samaha. Then satyapara. You know why satyapara? If I tell you a lie, I'll have to remember that lie. Because next time somebody talks, the same lie must come. If I have told you the truth, I can forget. So no stress at all. Tell a truth, no stress. Tell a lie, stress, blood pressure goes up. Then what does it say? Kshamavan. I can say I don't harm anybody. But someone else can come and slap me. Then I must understand. I always follow the principle of Spinoza. Do not weep at human action. Do not laugh at human action. Do not hate human action. Understand human action. This life becomes so easy if you understand human action. You know, many times you get angry because you don't understand the other person's action.